say Jordan choosing to be in contact with zoo apologists, though, forever shut that door. You know
Zoo
Kumo was in the
apologists,
Vox
like
Mafia.
who?
You know he happily sat in a server full of people who had
Oh my
loved to have a
god, this
conversation about how
again.
dog dick is okay and more. You know that.
Just completely disregarding Kumo's reasonings as to why he was in there.
And then you rattle off a whole bunch of stuff. I'm unsure if Jordan's telling the truth. But why didn't you tag or interrogate? Or better yet, if it's not your business, why continue with it?
I mean, he's got a point here a little bit where it's like Rin was a lot of the time operating on half known information, which is definitely a fault on his part. So he's not wrong.
Again, you're allowed to not believe me.
Right, because I don't.
Okay, cool. Goodbye.
But I'm stating that I don't want to be pressured into false admissions like last time. So I'm saying I genuinely didn't want to believe it at first, and
Enlaa, he's talking about Jordan talking to Kumo. Should we go back and listen again?
Full of people discuss family stuff without telling him. We wanted what you said.
It's hard to make out what he's saying, that's all, and I think that's intentional.
I saw Kumo's recent video. Jordan said you disowned him and wanted your side of the story because Kumo.
Someone wanted your side of the story. He's referring to Gilded Poo, to Kumo, to Rin. There's like 4 layers of guilt by association here. Vlad associated with Vox Mafia, Kumo associated with Vlad, Jordan associated with Kumo, and Rin associated with Jordan. The layers run deep with this one. But so far, Rin is at least trying to hold on. Props to Rin. I don't think it lasts very long, though.
Again, you're allowed to not believe me.
Right, because I don't.
Right, good discussion. That's where it should have
But
ended.
I'm stating.
Then, like, why does it matter what you want Rin to say? Like, all you want is Rin to give a confession that lines up with your narrative. If you don't if you come with the assertion that you don't believe anything Rin is going to tell you, then why are you expecting Rin to, like, say what you want to hear? It's almost like you don't care about Rin actually giving any genuine thoughts or opinions or feelings or even apologies. Lio sounds like AI when he's trying to speak fast. Yeah.
That I don't want
bastard.
to be pressured into false admissions like last time. So I'm saying I genuinely didn't want to believe it at first, and then
What do you mean like last time? You weren't forced into false admissions last time. What are you talking about?
No, like with I felt forced, but with Heaton, that one call.
You weren't forced. Hold on, you weren't forced to say anything. You didn't.
You can give a false confession under duress, Lio. That's a thing. Which is why a lot of your Senate calls would be invalid in any court of law, by the way, or inadmissible, because a lot of confessions that you might have gotten would have been under duress, considering your behavior in those calls. With a lot of these intimidation tactics and manipulation tactics and lying. I think he sounds like he's possessed by the devil in this call. I think what's happening is that he's keeping his voice down because he's in the middle of a fucking McDonald's for some reason. Gaslighting, yeah, gaslighting too. Like, there are ways you can get a false confession under duress or under false pretenses.
Admit to
Which is why, again, you're not qualified to handle this stuff, Lio.
anything that was a lie.
It's like, oh yeah, I don't want you to lie, but I'm not gonna let you leave, or I'm not gonna leave you alone until you tell me what I want to hear. Like, if you already aren't gonna believe them, but you also want them to confess to something, even though you already know whatever it is, you're not gonna believe it, that is you wanting a potential false confession, right?
I think what Rin is trying to say, Lio, is that they felt like they were admitting to something under duress.
Oh, thank you, Doodle. Doodle W?
Yeah, that's
so if I'm telling you it's not your business, mind your business, why would you still propagate something with no evidence?
Because they're allowed to have their opinions on stuff. Even if they don't have all of the evidence, they can still have the opinion on whether something is true or not. That's why, like, innocent until proven guilty, and if Jordan wants or has this expectation of people to believe what he's saying, he needs to provide proof. However, like I've said on Beckett's stream before, it really comes down to who you choose to believe at this point, because both people have said their piece. Both people have said their side now, and both sides have very little to no evidence, and what I've heard from Lyo's side only makes him out to be even more abusive. Just from the way that he's responding to it. Here we go.
Why?
I made it clear I cared for Jordan.
No,
And
I don't believe that. Because you know what? I care for a lot of people too. That doesn't mean I propagate things without evidence.
No. Lyo. Lyo! This guy! Fuck. I care for people too, but then I would never lie about something. I would never propagate false information with no evidence.
I did it with Peaches because they made it to a point that their life was constant.
I'll make an exception for Peaches. What about Doodletones? You've lied for Doodletones too, calling Akumu a victim blamer multiple times. Even though there's no proof of him ever victim blaming Doodletones. The only reason I did it for Peaches is because they were threatening to kill themselves. Is that really an excuse? It means you still lied, Lyo. What's your justification? It's not a good justification.
Me on the line if I didn't. You didn't have that issue here. You don't know anything about Jordan. Do not sit here and sell me on it. You also,
Number 5, extra large.
and I'm going to be blunt, can't sell me on the idea that you cared so much about what happened in FCK stuff when you made the Twitter about me. Much, by the way, to the chagrin of the victims.
A lot of dead air.
But it seems we're not going to get anywhere with this line because you specifically can't seem to rationalize your actions.
No, it's just that they don't want to give a false confession, which is literally what they just said.
Or rather that you don't want to. I don't know.
Oh, okay, so you just don't want to be honest and truthful. Okay, you don't want to be a good person. Got it.
Which. So we'll move on to the next one. Do you know why I brought up your father in my video?
Which is something you should not have done? That thing that you shouldn't do? Yeah, why did you do that?
Because you wanted, I don't know, you wanted to use it, you wanted to point out that I didn't want my LGBT plus friends, even though I'm literally trans. Why are you defending that point? Because that's gross.
You didn't actually watch my video, did you?
I did.
Then you would know what you just said right there was not my point.
I mean, you did say it though, did you not?
The point I made, Rin, that I know you missed because I saw your YouTube post. I was not saying that your father's values are yours. That's been saved, by the way.
I don't think that's what Rin was
your
saying.
values are incongruous with each other. You cannot, on one hand, worry about your LGBT friends finding out that your father is a dyed-in-the-wool Republican, and then actively enable, support, and hang around people who frankly are more hateful to trans people than your father is.
What? Wait, what? You can't be LGBT and hang around people that are transphobic, in my opinion. Yes, you can, by the way. What?
Because as horrible as your father seems to be...
Seems to be. Putting a little bit of doubt on that, are you?
Unless you're going to correct me right now, I don't recall him actively going out and maliciously dead-naming people, or, on top of that, using the wrong pronouns to rile them up. Go ahead.
I'm going to correct you. He actually does. All the freaking time.
Does he do it in front of thousands of people?
See how he's always moving the goalpost? Like, I don't think he's ever dead-named somebody. Oh, well, he has. Okay, well, does he do it in front of thousands of people? Really, like, shifting the goalpost there.
Not thousands, but he has... I don't want to disclose family details
I'm
because
not going to ask you to.
You've already been doing it. Why stop now?
I'm not going to ask you to. That's why I'm keeping it very vague, Rin.
That's not vague at all. We know what you're talking about. Rin has a homophobic father and a transphobic father. What else is, what's vague about that? And also, yeah, you don't know Rin's personal life, and you can still make assumptions about it. But Rin has to know every intimate detail about your personal life with Jordan in order to believe him? It makes no sense.
You actively allied yourself with people who willfully and giggling use dead names.
Giddily? Wait, giggling? What do you say?
Vague, Rin. You actively allied yourself with people who willfully and giggling use dead names.
Gigglingly? What? gigglingly. Fuck off.
And the wrong pronouns.
Oh, you hang out with people who use the wrong pronouns. First of all, who?
You actively and willfully
Can I join? No, you can't join. You're doing your own stream.
engage with transphobia.
I don't know who Lyo's talking about, but he does this all the time where it's just vague stuff. Where it's like, Lyo also dead named someone? Well, who? If it's Rin, I don't know if that counts. I don't know. Because it's just a screen name. Using someone's old screen name is not the same as dead naming them. I'm sorry, but it isn't.
Whom you say are against your values. How can you not look at these things and realize the incongruity?
Fair enough.
So, now that Lyo's bringing up this point, I would like to bring up something as well that I've been holding in my back pocket for quite a while. It was never really relevant until now. Let me see if I can go find it real quick and pull it up on stream. I want to share a story with you, guys, if you'll allow me. In the 1980s, musician Daryl Davis set out to understand the Ku Klux Klan, so he started befriending members at Klan rallies and joined an all-white country band. Then he met Imperial Wizard Roger Kelly. Davis spent years building a relationship with Kelly, establishing trust and eventually a friendship. They ate meals at each other's homes, while Davis listened to Kelly, seeking to see how he could hate a person like Davis even without knowing him. Eventually, Kelly started listening to Davis and left the Klan altogether, giving Davis his robes and hood, and over the past decades, Davis has now convinced over 200 former Klan members to walk away. And here he is taking pictures with KKK members in front of burning crosses. Reposted by Lyo. You guys can see that at the top. So, it's okay for someone like Daryl Davis to hang out with people that are incongruent with his values, but it's not okay for other people to do it. Don't get me wrong, I think this is fucking great, but it seems like your values are a little inconsistent here, Lyo. As a trans mask, misgendering, intentional or not, isn't transphobia, it's just someone using free speech and choosing to not partake in being told what to think, especially if you don't look or sound the gender you're transitioning. That, and it's a respect issue, not a transphobia issue. It's the intent, exactly. Like, I get the intention of, like, I'm not gonna be respectful to someone that I don't respect. I left while we're looking at Daryl Davis. Oh, okay. Fucking bugs! God damn it. Yeah, don't let a cisgendered man who's straight tell you what is or isn't homophobic. Agreed, Enlaa. Texas sucks. I'm just saying, there's a bit of a contradiction here, Lyo.
That's not fair enough. Thing is, okay. Did you do some of the art for Akumu?
Yeah, I did.
In the art you did, which one was it? What art did you do?
It
Why
was
does
like
matter?
Why
does this matter? We're listening to a call that happened yesterday.
Which videos?
hold on. It's been a bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, guys. This is literally a business transaction, has nothing to do with personal values. Yeah. The enemy of my enemy is a friend. Oh no, Rin drew art? Oh god.
Let me make this simpler for you. Has it been in any of Akumu's recent videos past 3 months?
Why does it fucking matter? Again, why does it matter?
Me, like, been in it?
Has the art you have done been in any of the recent videos that Akumu has put out in the past few months?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, sick. Now we have the water bottle ASMR, the Holy Trinity.
Would you give your father art to use? Would you know he's going to spread hateful rhetoric?
What the fuck? What? Would you make art for your abusive father when you made art for a random online person? Fucking what? What kind of point is that? Would you do this for your father? Someone I know nothing about? It's literally just fucking art. I don't know what you're talking about. You want to spray? Did you guys hear that?
I would.
Oh, yeah, remember, guys, he's doing this call while in fucking McDonald's.
Father art to use? Would you know he's going to spread hateful rhetoric?
You want to spray?
I would draw art for my dad in regards to D&D, but when it comes to political endeavors, no.
It's almost like it's Rin's fucking father. And despite their ideological differences, that he can still care about somebody who is transphobic or homophobic. It's almost like Ren has empathy towards people whose values don't align with his. Yo, what? Sprite cranberry, please. You want a Sprite? Be serious at home, bro.
That's not what I asked you.
That is
I
what
asked
you
you if
asked.
you would draw art for your dad, knowing he was going to use it while spreading hateful rhetoric. Because you know who Akumu is. You
You know he'd probably spread hateful rhetoric in D&D.
know what he does.
You know who Akumu is, you know what he does. What does he do? You're not being specific. When has he spread hateful rhetoric? About who? In what context? Just because he uses the wrong pronouns because he simply doesn't respect somebody? Who fucking who? I'm sorry.
I would not.
There's
join.
no way you don't. Okay, then why did you for Akumu? Why are you willing to associate yourself with one group of transphobes but not another one?
Because people are allowed to choose who they do and don't associate with. You know, I'll give you an example. For instance, Ponder Sprocket. As much as I don't like the fact that Ponder hangs out with you fucking people, I'm not allowed to, I'm not allowed to sit here and be like, Ponder shouldn't hang out with you people. Because I just have to make fucking peace with it. I just have to make peace with the fact that Ponder hangs out with people like that, like you. I just have to make peace with it. And decide whether or not I want to, continue being a fan of somebody who's like that, and I don't. So I distance myself from that. I wouldn't sit there and be like, I can't believe you would do such a thing. It's like, no, eventually I just have to get the fuck over it and make peace with it, which is what I've done. You also have to make peace with it because that is Rin's business, not yours. The only reason it's upsetting to you is because he's aligning himself with people that are against you. That's the only reason.
Because he's been there for me since forever.
And your father raised you and has a roof over your head. What's the point?
What? What? Wait, what? Listen back to that?
Okay, then why did you for Akumu? Why are you willing to associate yourself with one group of transphobes but not another one?
Because it's, okay, first of all, it's not a collectivist thing. Groups are groups. Groups are individual groups. Okay? If two groups can be transphobic, and you prefer to hang out with one over the other because the other one's just more fun to be around. Or nicer. I don't fucking know. I don't understand this point. Again, this is incongruent.
Because he's been there for me since...
And I think Rin misunderstood here. He's clearly talking about his dad.
Forever.
And your father raised you and has a roof over your head. What's the point?
Hey, Akumu.
I care for Akumu too because he...
Akumu, you want to hop in? We can duo this. We can duo this together. You and me. Saying hi while me and Gilded go through this. Why don't we all go through it? Fuck it.
He's been hurt by the FCK. And he's been there for
Where are you guys, timestamp-wise?
me for like a long time.
Right over
And
your
a lot
head.
of people vilify him.
Right over your head. Just right.
No. Listen, you're not saying what I want you to say. Therefore, you didn't get it. You're not giving me the answer I was looking for. Therefore, you just didn't understand. So try again.
Somebody being in text cats for you was fine, but if that's somehow
Lyo's the one who didn't get it. Lyo's the one who didn't get it because Rin's clearly talking about his dad.
violates your most basic values, which is don't be a transphobe.
How do you know that's Rin's most basic values? I mean, granted, Rin might have said that somewhere. I don't know.
I think your metrics are a little off. Because somehow being there...
Your mathematics don't add up here. Maybe it's because it runs deeper than logic and mathematics and metrics. Maybe it's about empathy and sentiment and people you grew up with and people that you love and care for. That is aside from being purely transactional. I know this is something you don't understand, Lyo.
For you in Discord calls somehow rates higher for you than having a roof over your head. And I'm not saying that your dad's not awful. Probably is.
Probably is. Wait a minute, what do you mean probably is? Didn't we just establish that these other people are terrible because they're transphobic? And you're sitting here, like, knowing that Rin's father is homophobic and transphobic and abusive in some way, and you're gonna say, well, he's probably not a good person. The hell is this?
I've been around enough groups to know how these parents can be. But do you not see how this is a bit unequal? One would say in
Unequal?
severity.
Life and relationships are not 100% equal. There doesn't have to be a mathematical equation as to why you like one person more than another. There doesn't have to be. I had someone I was friends for 15 years that I cared deeper for than my own siblings for the longest time. I care about my parents far more than I care about my other siblings. That's just how human beings work. You don't understand that because everything for you is transactional.
I guess, yeah.
Yes. So you care a lot for Jordan, huh? Your word, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So when Kumo started making fun of them when my video came out, did you get on to Kumo for it?
Making fun of them
Wait,
how? What did Kumo say? This is the first time I'm hearing of this too. Like when?
I didn't stutter. You heard me.
Did he make fun of them?
Yep. Matter of fact, they made fun of them pretty regularly in Kumo and Enlaa server to an extent, one way or another. Jordan knows that. Jordan knows that.
Fucking where?
I did not know that.
Oh, then we have the fact that Gildapu actively thinks that Nezzy should kill themselves. And yeah, you came in and said, who or Gilded, let's not say that. You really think that's the type of energy you should have there? Just politely, please don't.
No, they actually had a much bigger issue with that. I'm pretty sure they left my server because of that. Rin was not in my server for very long, and that's a time frame that we can go over later. But Rin didn't stay in my server. That was one of the reasons why they left. And I had no issue with that. Yeah, that did happen. That did happen. But I feel like Vlad has his own reasonings for thinking so. And we could sit here all fucking day and be like, well, I just don't agree with that. That's just like running around in circles at that point. You know what Rin did? They decided not to associate with Vlad after him saying that stuff and vocalized verbally that he had a problem with that. I mean, let's take as example Nezzy, for instance, since we're bringing Nezzy up into this equation. You're saying that Nezzy, you and Doodletones are both saying that Nezzy is in the clear with the FCK stuff because, oh, well, they took issue with it privately with Toasty, so it's all okay. But it's not enough for Rin to take issue with what Vlad said publicly and call it out and get into a disagreement with him about it. That's not enough. Vlad feels very strongly about suicide. There's a reason why he said those things, but the nuance doesn't fucking matter here. But Villa says, Vlad feels very strongly about suicide. He sees people who cry about suicide for attention or a get out of a tight spot as subhuman, because it's someone making light of suicide. That's the way Vlad sees it, yeah. Vlad being annoyed with Nezzy using suicide to dodge accountability is reasonable. I mean, that's reasonable. I think so.
I was trying to be polite, and...
No.
Lio, why were you okay with this? I wasn't okay with it, I was just trying to be polite. No. That doesn't line up with my narrative. Okay.
Because you wouldn't have that energy if it was one of your friends. Let's be honest here.
You wouldn't have that energy if they weren't one of your friends. Wait, is that what he said?
No, because you wouldn't have that energy if it was one of your friends.
It's so hard to hear what he's saying here.
I was trying to be polite, and...
No, because you wouldn't have that energy if it was one of your friends.
I'm having a hard time hearing, because it matters, trust me. I'm having a hard time understanding if he's saying you wouldn't have that energy if it were one of your friends, or if it weren't.
Here's my problem with
you,
It's a
race to the finish.
You lack any form of consistency. You make special exceptions for certain transfers, but not ones that pay your bills.
You made exceptions for Peaches, simply because they said they were going to kill themselves. If that was the only, again, that could not have been the only reason that you decided to play defense for Peaches. That could not have been the only reason, but you're making exceptions for yourself.
You know who these people are.
I'm here.
You know their nature. You know they're awful.
You know
so why are you
they're
their friend?
Awful. But Ren also knows that you're awful. A lot of people know that you're awful.
And I genuinely want to know.
Wait, they're starting from the beginning with the Yoon stuff? Oh boy.
They care for you.
Because I know their sides. Akumu helped Nil with being trans.
Oh. Interesting.
That doesn't mean what he did was okay.
Hang on, sorry. Hold on.
Right. Akumu helped Nil with being trans.
Oh.
Really? That's news to
That
me.
doesn't mean what he did was okay. I don't condone a lot of.
It's almost like people can have differing beliefs, but also still be good people despite those different ideological beliefs. Who would have guessed? It's almost like what determines a good person is based on their consistent actions and their words, and how they treat people on a consistent basis. Not their ideological opinions. Like, Vlad's why is it in reverse? What the fuck? Vlad's ideological, like, values are much different from mine. We've butted heads about that many times, right? But he's still a nice guy. Like, if you respect him, he respects you. In fact, he respects your pronouns if you respect him. Like, he respects Queen Seraphina's pronouns just fine. I've actually spoken with Vlad in private about personal, like, struggles and about my own mental health before, and he's been nothing but supportive and constructive with me in private. That shows a consistency in the fact of, like, his values are, if you respect me, I'll respect you, and he's been consistent with that. You haven't, Lio.
What he does, but you.
And where's your line?
I'm trying to keep my voice down because I don't want to get caught.
Where's your line? Where's your line, Ren?
Keep in mind that Lio is having this interrogation with Rin while Rin is huddled up in a closet hiding from their parents. Because if they get caught being in another Discord call, they could potentially be kicked out and be in a really bad home environment. Like, and be homeless. Or whatever other, like, they could be abused, potentially. Lio knows this, and continues on with this anyway. And thought, yeah, this was a good idea. Completely in disregard. Now, mind you, it's not Lio's responsibility. You know, Rin still made the decision to get into this call in the first place. But it shows that Lio doesn't have much care for whether or not somebody gets abused. In fact, weren't they saying in the Rosa call that they hope that Rosa gets abused? Like, one of the many things that Lio has never apologized for, aside from the slurs and sexist comments, which are the only things that he's apologized for, and a vague sense of how it was handled. I also hate guilt by... It's funny because he said, oh, I'm not doing guilt by association anymore. But all of his arguments so far has been nothing but guilt by association.
So as long as he's okay with the trans people you know and like, then Akumu's fine?
Wow, could you imagine it? You can have transphobic people that you like. Almost like humans are complicated that way.
Doodle tones all the time. He takes shots at doodle tones for things that happen. Then why do you enable... Then where is your line, Rin?
Where's your line?
You wouldn't do art for your dad. You wouldn't enable him to spread hateful rhetoric with your art, but you will with Akumu.
What? Those two things, a family... Oh my god.
You say Akumu's been
It's not comparable.
there for you, but...
Also, Rin has said that they do art for their dad. Rin said that they make art for their dad's D&D stuff. So yes, they do art for their dad. Again, what are you talking about?
Your dad put a roof over your head and raised you.
Probably I love garbage. My dad, though. So...
Okay, but you just told me that you wouldn't do it for your dad, but you'll do it for Akumu.
You wouldn't draw art for your dad, but you'll love him? You say you love him, but you won't draw art for him? Also, no, he didn't say that he wouldn't draw art for his... Again, Rin said, yeah, they draw art for their dad's D&D stuff. So yes, they do draw art for their dad. This is so fucking weird. Such fucking emotional manipulation. It's insane. God damn.
And your reason was because Akumu's been there for you.
No, he was talking about his dad. Here? You're the one who doesn't get it. You are so focused on getting a gotcha that you don't even care.
You think the people you're associating with during all this are good people? Yes or no?
Yes or no. No room for nuance. No room for opinions.
Akumu changes his outlook on transphobia. He would be definitely a good person because he tells the truth. You know, not like about but he does not lie.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Hey, I have an issue with their transphobia, but I think aside from that, they're a good person. Wow, nuance. It exists.
No, he has lied. Every human being on this planet has lied. And
yeah, I know. He hasn't lied about the FCK stuff. You Didn't you just have to apologize for calling him the false accusation supreme, or as you put it, the king of liars?